Saha, Dave, thanks for the time. Man, Tom and I are both wondering, what are your thoughts on this in terms of what it means for the direction for the Chicago Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes it clear that 2021 isn't the priority. Competing in 2021 just can't be realistic when you make a move like this. Not only have you already had a huge multiple holes in the rotation, now you get rid of your ace, your Cy Young contender, and Zach Davies is perfectly fine. He's a very good starter, and he would fit in great in this rotation if they had kept Darvish. But now you've downgraded significantly in the rotation and gotten rid of your quality backup catcher that you thought high enough that you were giving him DH at bats in a 60-game season. So clearly they like Victor Caratini. They love you, Darvish, but this is a high upside, high risk package in return, and definitely a look that 2021 isn't going to be that competitive for the Cubs, outside of the fact that the NL Central just may make them competitive by default.
Yeah, that's a hard way to plan, counting on the weakness of your division. But you know as well as anybody, the last couple of years, this offense was broken at the end of the year, right? They just traded Darvish, who they finally got turned around. This was the guy they thought they were getting when they signed him. And really nothing back to help the offense in 21. So where do you see the Cubs going from here to try to, quote unquote, fix a broken offense, if anywhere?
Yeah, I don't know how much, if any, of this money is going to be spent with 2021 in mind. I kind of was thinking when this deal, we've been hearing about this deal for a few days now, Jake Cronenworth would have fit perfectly into this offense. The Padres kind of have a plethora of middle infielders and seem to be kind of pushing him out of a spot, and he would have made a lot of sense. But that's the type of bat you're thinking of when it comes to upgrading the Cubs offense. It's not this impact bat that you put in the middle of a lineup, but a guy that makes contact, can hit for average, has a good eye, isn't going to strike out a lot, and maybe a versatile defender. That's kind of what they're looking for. That costs a decent amount of money on the free agent market. They're not going to go out and be aggressive with DJ LeMahieu. Even a guy like Jurickson Profar may not be in their price range. That may have shifted with Darvish's salary being shed. But those are the types of guys I'm thinking of. Ideally, they could be aggressive and go for DJ LeMahieu. I think more realistic is a guy like Robbie Grossman that they can stick in the left field now that Kyle Schwarber has been non-tendered.
I would imagine, Saha, Dave, that the local reaction to this is the same as ours. A little bit of confusion, maybe even a little bit of sadness as it signals the breaking up of the band. Is that accurate? Is that the way Cub fans are reacting this morning?
Yeah, I think you would have gotten a little bit of a more accepting reaction if they'd gotten some more major league ready parts. Like I mentioned, Cronenworth, a guy like Weathers is a good prospect that made the majors last year. But yeah, this is tough. Darvish had really been embraced by the fans. The coaching staff loved this guy. Finally really bought into everything that they do as a coaching staff. The organization loved him. He was well liked. Even us in the media, he'd opened up to us so much. He completely changed from his 2018 year where he was using a translator. He was speaking to us in English. He was cracking us up regularly. Really fun guy to be around. Just really embraced everything that they're doing with the Cubs as far as the pitching infrastructure. Fans just loved him because of that humor, because of the way he was acting with us, the way he performed on the mound the past year and a half. Just a brilliant performance. Go look at the numbers from middle of 2019 on. One of the best pitchers in baseball. The Cubs traded one of the best pitchers of baseball for Zach Davies and 4 wild cards, 4 lottery tickets. That has to sting for fans. There's no one that's going to impact the team in 2021 significantly and make them big contenders. These guys may not show up till 2023, 2024, and that's if they make the majors at all. So it has to sting for fans. I understand why fans would be so upset, especially when you look at this. This isn't a pure salary dump. But salary is a highly motivated factor, highly motivating factor here. Fans never want to hear that. I can't imagine fans are like, oh, that's great. They cleared some payroll space. This is a good move for them.
Well, let's talk about those lottery tickets, as you accurately called them, because they are so young. I know some executives in the game say whenever you make a trade like this, getting quantity back, you want a young pitcher in there because everybody's trying to hit the lottery on young pitching. They don't have any in this deal in terms of young prospects. Is there a common denominator here? 2 infielders, 2 outfielders, very young. I know the Cubs championship team was built on homegrown position players, and they traded for and signed pitchers to add to that. Does it look like this is part of that? Why are we looking at 4 position players here?
I think they did want some pitching in return. Ultimately, that didn't work out. A lot of these guys, I mean, they're all position players. They can play in the middle of the diamond right now. You know, a lot of these guys, as they move up, they may have to move off their shortstop or center field position. They were high on Cole Wilcox, who went to Tampa Bay in the Blake Snell deal. Obviously, they couldn't pry him away. But yeah, I think there were some people within the organization that were surprised, some people around baseball that were surprised there were no pitchers involved. They like these guys. I have heard great things about these guys. And like I said, they're talented prospects. It's just that there's so much risk when you're talking about 18 to 20-year-old kids. Some of these guys were just signed a little over a year ago in the international free agency. These are high-risk players with a ton of talent, but you have to really rely on your developmental system to hope that at least one of them reaches their potential. And the potential is significant. It's just there's some interesting aspects with these guys, some contact-oriented hitters who could grow into power. The Cubs have been looking for contact, but they need it for the 2021 team, not the 2024 team. Who knows what that roster looks like? So you can't really point to that aspect and say, well, the Cubs need that, because what they need is in 2021, not 5 years down the road. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys develop. The Cubs are very light in the AA, AAA, especially in position players. So that's another factor. How are they going to fit all these players into their system? There's just all these little things that we'll have to watch once the season starts, where these guys are playing, how they're developed. There's so many questions, but it's certainly not a trade that's going to make people happy as far as Cubs fans right away.
Sahadev Sharma covering the Cubs in The Athletic. We appreciate the time and the insights, Sahadev. As always, have a happy new year. We'll talk to you in 2021.